Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome students to the lecture number 3 of chapter number 1. In this lecture we'll be covering the exercise problems. As we have done question number 1 and 2 in the previous lecture, I'll be continuing it with question number 3. The question here is, the circumference of a circle is given by the function c of r, which is equal to 2 pi r, where r is the length of the radius. You have to find the circumference when the given input is 2.34 inches. You have to solve all these three parts. Your first step will be to just insert the value of r as an input, and then the same way you will be changing your input to get the circumference of a circle. The function given is c of r equals to 2 pi r. Let's solve its first part. R represents our radius. So the radius given in the first part is 2.34 inches. What is given? We are given with the function. The function represents a circumference of a circle, where we have to insert the value of r as 2.34, and we are already familiar with the value of pi, that is the constant, which is equal to 3.14. As pi is the mathematical constant and its value remains the same, so we can't change it. So when you are inserting the values in the function, 2 is as written as it is. Pi, instead of pi you'll be putting in 3.14, and r is the input of this function, which is given, that is 2.34. So after multiplying the three terms, your answer will be 14.70 inches. Now let's solve its another part, part B. The steps will remain the same, but the input is changed. Previously we have taken the value of r as 2.34. Here the value of r given is 6.41. So we'll be plugging in the value of r as 6.41. Why? I told you that since it is a mathematical constant, its value will remain same. So when you are putting in the values of r and pi in this function, which represents the circumference of a circle, your output will be 40.25 inches. Third part of question number C. The input is changed. That is 5 by 11. You can also write this input in decimal part. You can solve this fraction. Insert the value of r as 0.45, or you can directly insert it as 5 by 11. The value of pi is 3.14. The functional value is given. Just put in the values of r and pi to get your answer. That is the circumference of a circle when the given radius was 5 by 11. I hope you are clear with this question. Let's solve question number 4. The area of circle is given by the function a of r, which is equal to pi r square, where r is the length of the radius. Now you have to find the area of a circle with different radius. Here the radius given is 2.34. Just insert the value in this function. You'll be getting the area of a circle when the input, the radius, was 2.34. Now you have to keep one thing in mind, that the unit for finding area is square. So we have placed square with this inches. Now our input is changed. The radius given is 6.41. Insert the values in this function. You'll be getting your answer as 129.02 inches square. Look at this third part. All the steps are same, exactly same. The only difference is with the values of r. Here we go with question number 5. The total surface area of a cube is given by the function f of s, which is equal to 6s square, where s is the length of the side of the cube. We have to find surface area when side is given as 3.75. Now S represents our input, which is the length of the side of a cube. So when you are inserting the value of S in this function as 3.75, your output will be 84.36 meters square. Now you don't forget to write the unit of the surface area, which is meter square. Let's solve its part B. Where the input is just changed, that is 6.05 inches, which is the value of X. So when you are inserting this value of X as 6.05, your output will be 219.60 inches square. Here the unit given in part C is millimeter. So insert the value of S as 13.42. The surface area will be 1080.60 millimeter square. Whatever the unit you are given with, you have to write square with that unit. Right? Now let's solve question number 6. The measure of the angle theta in radian is given by this function, which is equal to S by R. So theta equals to F of SR, and it is equal to S by R, where S is the length of the arc and R is the radius of the circle. What you have to find? You have to find angle in radian. So this function represents your angle. The formula given is S by R. It will be given in your question. You don't need to memorize it. So the value of S, that is your input, given here is 4.71 and R is 3. The first value represents your S and the second value represents R. So when you are inserting the values of S and R in this function, you will be getting your answer in radian, which represents the measure of the angle. So this theta represents the measure of the angle in radian. Let's solve second part. The input is changed. The first value represents the value of S and the second value represents the value of R, as we are comparing this function with the given function. So when you are inserting the values, your answer for theta will be 3.142 radians. Here comes question number 7. Now this function f of x represents a compound function. Since it is a combination of two functions under certain condition, the condition given here is if the input is less than 0, you have to choose this function. And if the input, that is the value of x, if it is greater than or equal to 0, you have to choose this function. Now let's see how are we going to apply it. Part A is f of minus 1. Now the input here is minus 1, which is less than 0. So we have to choose this first function to get the output. So I'll be taking x minus 3, and when you are taking this function x minus 3 and instead of x you are plugging in its value, which is minus 1, your output will be minus 4. Second part is when the value of x is 0. Let's check the condition. When the value of x is 0. So we have to choose the second function, that is 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5, and instead of x we are plugging in its value, which is 0. So when you are inserting the value of x as 0 in this function, since it is satisfying the second condition, so our output will be 5. Third part. What if when the value of x is 1? Think about it. Which function are you going to choose? So, it is satisfying the condition of x greater than or equal to 0. Since 1 is greater than 0, so we will be choosing this function, that is 2x plus 5. Let's evaluate. F of 2x plus 5 will be taken, and input, we have to insert our input as 1. So 2 into 1 plus 5 gives us 7. Here comes question number 8. Let's check whether this function is a compound function or it's a simple function. Since we are given with the condition given here is x not equal to 2, and when the value of x is equal to 2. So we have to choose among these two functions, as this function f of x is the combination of these two functions. So we can say that this function is a compound function, or we can say it is a piecewise function. So let's solve it. When we are given with the input, our input is 0. This input is satisfying which condition among these two? It is satisfying this condition, this first condition, because it is not equal to 2. So it's satisfying this condition, so we will be choosing this first function to get the output of this f of 0. So when you are choosing this first function and you are inserting the value of x as 0, your output will be 2. Let's solve with second part. F of 2. Now check the condition. X equals to 2. It is satisfying this condition. Since the second function is a constant function, you don't need to evaluate. For any input, your output will be 4. So you will just be writing f of 2 equals to 4. Third part. Now the input here is 4, which is satisfying this first condition. So I'll be choosing this first function to evaluate the value of f of 4. So as a result, our answer will be 6. Question number 9. Indicate whether each table specifies a function or not. Now you have to check this table and you have to give a reason whether this table represents a function or not. Since each element in the domain set corresponds to one and only one element in the range set, so the given table forms a function, right? So it is representing a function. Why? Because one element is mapped with only 1. Let's see another part. Again, y equals to f of x represents a function. In this function, the domain is -1, -2, -3, which is mapped with 5, 7, and 9 respectively. So it is also a function, as we can say that we have each element in the domain set that corresponds to one and only one element in the range set. So the given table forms a function. And it's a bijective function which is satisfying both the properties, that is, it's 1, 1 and onto function. Onto function is a function in which range of the function is equal to set B, and 1, 1 function says that one element will only be mapped with one element. So it is also satisfying the properties of bijective function. Let's see this function. Is this table represents a function? No. Why? Because with one single input, how can you get two different outputs? So with this domain 3, the output is 5 and 6, and with this domain 4, the output is 6 and 7. So this table does not represent a function. You can say that we have elements 3 and 4 in the domain set that corresponds to two elements 5, 6 and 6, 7 respectively in the range set. So the given table does not represent a function. Let's solve question number 10. Indicate whether each graph specifies a function y equals to f of x or not. So let's take the first graph. Let's visualize this first graph. Now how will you be depicting whether this graph represents a function or not? As we have studied vertical line test, I explained you